Hello Internet, welcome to Xifeng Plays Our Darker Purpose. I'm Xifeng. This is one in a long line of games that I really enjoy and am not very good at, so I hope you'll join me as I work to get better at it. This is a game that I first saw on Rockley Smiles' channel, and I could tell almost right away that this was almost like a game that was just made for me, to my tastes perfectly. I just like it so much for so many different reasons. And so, I really want to kind of get good at it and learn more of its intricacies. Since, as much as I like it, I really only know it on sort of a superficial level, having only played it a few times. So, you might have noticed that it's superficially got a lot of similarity to The Binding of Isaac, which is a great game. I think I prefer this one more just kind of by my own taste. Like, I don't think that this is a better game, I just like this game more. I really like the art style and kind of the theming of this game. I think it has an interesting story that I find compelling. I really like Cordy as a character. And I really like the art style. A lot of it kind of reminds me of this author-illustrator that I've liked since I was a kid, Edward Gorey, who does just the strangest books that I've ever seen, and I really recommend checking him out. But that was one of the first things that this game really reminded me of. Mechanically, it has this feel to it. You might notice that I'll roll when I pick items up. Heals 2% of life after every 5 enemies killed. That could be very useful. I wonder if I will turn a profit on that. Maybe? Anyway, so several layers of conversation to unravel here. So, I roll when I pick things up. That is because I am playing this on a Super Nintendo controller, and there's not quite enough buttons to be able to do everything this game needs. It does use quite a few buttons. And so I ended up having to have 2 buttons overlap, and interact and roll ended up being the ones that I thought had the least kind of overlap in, if I was trying to roll and I picked something up, I didn't think that would be too much trouble, and if I try to pick something up and I roll, that ends up not being too much trouble. This is one of the things that I think really distinguishes this game and makes it stand up, is every time you level up, you pick a passive perk, and these ones are pretty basic, plus 50 life or plus 20% move speed. Both of those are really tempting. I've seen some of them are kind of more complicated and do more to change the way you play. I think just because Cordy moves so slowly, I'm going to get the move speed. I think that will end up being a little bit more useful, but I could be completely wrong. I do find it a bit frustrating how slowly she moves and shoots. So this is one of the kind of hazard rooms that this game has, where you get an item for just making it through the room, but you have to make it through. And that one had a timer, which is, there are some that don't have timers, that the hazards just stay. So I don't actually know what this max crit chance, broken after taking 80 damage. So until I take 80 damage, which will not be very long, I think, I will have max crit chance. And that will be moderately useful. I don't find crits the most compelling mechanic in any game, but it's something nice. I'm doing a lot more damage this way. Taking out Brogs in one hit, that's pretty cool. I don't actually... juice boxes refill your health, and they refill 20 health, so I'm doing well enough that I don't actually need to take that juice box. Probably after the boss fight is when I will use that. I only have 3 tokens. Money is very hard to come by in this game, which is one of the things that I think contributes to its overall, the flavor of the game, the kind of, the way that it feels. Now this is one of my favorite of the early game bosses. This is some Harmless Markings, and it's a very tricky boss. I'm still not very good at dodging all of the stuff that it throws at me, though I am getting better at it little by little, and that's something that I hope to continue doing. I really like the design of this boss. I like the kind of the phases it goes through. I like the idea of like a chalk drawing coming to life and walking around and doing battle. And I can actually hit it when it's in the chalkboards. It's tricky because she moves pretty fast, but I can do that. Excuse me while I concentrate on not getting completely steamrollered by her. I think it's a her. I don't know. Does chalk have a gender? I guess getting crits every time is actually turning out to be pretty useful because it is doing quite a lot extra damage. Don't know how much longer that will last. I'm pretty close to taking some... Yep, there we go. Didn't think I could get out of that. So I'll use a couple of juice boxes, refill my health, but I don't think I'm going to have this max crit chance for too much longer. I am going to go back and get that juice box so that I can use it at some point in the future. And I think that is everything that I can get out of this level, so I will complete it. I got a D. I know I could do better than that, but not today. So now, here's another kind of... There's a lot of these choices that you have to make between different... Like, this is the next level that we're going to. Do I want a gluttonous level, which means, I think, more juice boxes, or a sensitive level where everything takes more damage? Because, for right now at least, I'm one-shotting most of the basic enemies, I think I'm going to go with the more juice boxes level. At least I think that's what gluttonous means. So we'll see if that actually ends up being useful or not. And I'm not actually one-hitting these guys. So I was maybe a little bit overestimated how much being able to do extra damage would actually affect it. But the upside of that is that I will take less damage for not being on a sensitive floor, because it's kind of, it's not like you're more powerful or you're weaker, it's just everything happens faster. So one of my favorite aspects of this game that kind of adds to its character, to its flavor, is just how much patience plays a role. Oh, I've gotten myself into a pretty bad spot. Yeah, there's no way to not take damage, I think, getting out of there. Just that I find that a lot of the time I get in trouble because I'm impatient. And that really taking my time to be methodical, to be careful, makes a big difference in this game. Though I'm not illustrating that especially well right now, because as I said, I am sometimes a pretty impatient person, and this game can be very trying sometimes. Now, I'm not really sure how to deal with that champion trash can. I guess I will deal with the rest of the room as best I can before I worry too much about that. Though I have to worry about it some, because it's doing quite a number on me. So this is kind of an illustration of what I'm talking about. These Caltrip girls, you really have to plan out how you're going to approach them, especially when you have something like this trash can that is doing a lot of... making a lot of the floor kind of dangerous to be around. And especially with these fires as well, is going to make it even harder. But if I can get this, even just this one trash can taken care of, and maybe get another shot in on that Caltrip girl, boy, I am just taking so much damage, it's ridiculous. I really should, I know how to deal with this room, and like I said, I just need to be patient, be careful, not rush, and I'm just not doing that. I'm being sloppy, I'm not dodging very carefully, and that is going to possibly make this a pretty short run, but that's alright, you know, I'm learning, I'm getting better. I don't even know how to deal with this. Okay, so first I want to knock its lid off, of course, and avoid its shots, for the most part, as much as I can. Basically exactly what I'm not doing. The Canny Courtesan. That's an interesting name for a trash can. Well, I guess it's the monster inside the trash can as much as it's the trash can. These champions are a part of the game that I really like. They are usually just kind of souped up versions of normal enemies. They drop an enemy once you defeat them, but they can be pretty tough. And I leveled up, so Tender is the rapid shot, plus 20 attack speed, or plus 25 life, juice boxes permanently increase health by 4. This is because I'm having quite a lot of trouble with my health. Maybe the attack speed, if I was better, would be a more effective option, but I'm tanking it so much, or trying to tank it so much, that I think just going for the raw health is going to be better. And I don't know what this potato does. Creates a projectile slowing field. That would have been really useful on this room. I guess it'll be pretty useful on this room as well. I'm not sure how useful, but certainly better than not having it. Unless it really messes up with my timings. But it doesn't seem to be having more than a pretty subtle effect. You know, I can see, I think it is working, and I think it actually just saved me a little bit of damage there. But it has a pretty subtle effect. And there is a lot of subtlety in this game, and that's one of the things that I really like about it. It feels like a very kind of, it's not a flashy game. It's a very good-looking game, in my opinion, but you know, it feels like a lot of what's going on in this game is little things that you really have to be paying attention to notice. Still don't have enough money to get anything, which is unfortunate, but it looks like there's still quite a bit left to explore on this room. I think this is the door to the boss. Yeah, that's the boss door. The boss fights in this game are pretty nice. Really, some of them really emphasize the patience aspect of it to an even larger degree. There's one that is a dragon that I always lose against because I get impatient. And I feel like that gives this game such a quality that I wish I could describe the way that this game makes me feel better, because I think a lot of the things that I say about it might not actually sound like a good thing. Like, it's a very slow, very subtle game, and I can't really explain in words why that is such an important thing to me. I guess the only thing I can think of to describe it is kind of, it's charming. You know, it's this kind of creepy, cute art style, the story about this girl named Cordy who's in this haunted orphanage, I just find everything about this game so charming. And I think that's really what compels me to really want to get better at it and develop more of a sense to be able to see those subtleties that I'm still not entirely picking up on. And be able to notice more stuff like, crit chances and move speed and attack speed. I said I didn't take that attack speed upgrade because I didn't really know how to make effective use of it. That's something that I really want to learn in this game. I think there's a lot of mystery, kind of allure of not knowing really how the game works yet. It looks like I just have to backtrack at this point, and I think there's nothing left to face except the boss. So let's go do that. And I am not doing great for health. Alright, so this is one of the bosses that I find it's impatience that usually ends up getting me killed. Because I really have to come in here, just get a couple of shots off, and then get out of the way. And I really can, as long as I stay, behind this, and then am really careful about when I take my shot, I really can survive this. His stuff is pretty easy to dodge if I remember to dodge it. The ball that bounces around can get pretty... Oh, okay. That was just me not paying a lot of attention. That ball that bounces around can get pretty troublesome because, when you're confined to standing behind that ice spike, sometimes the ball can roll around. I dodged right into that. I hope I survive this battle. I think the projectile slowing field will be useful if that ball ever bounces real close to me. Or if I just manage to pay attention when those knives go out. Oh yeah, and that thing that protects you also can damage you if you get too close to it. Another kind of part of what makes this game, really feel like it's, this really hostile world that you're in, which is another aspect of the game that I really like. And boy, I dodged right into that as well. It really emphasizes that in the story with these kind of administrators who have a little bit snarky things to say about, almost like they're taking bets on how long you'll live, like that in that movie. I don't remember if it was in the movie, but in one of the incarnations of Battle Royale, I remember they were placing bets on which students would live and how long they would live, and that's kind of the vibe that I get from the administrator's comments in this game. And I guess this has a little bit more similarity than that with Battle Royale, because it's, these basically little kids who are fighting each other for reasons that are not entirely known. And that's alright. Now, this is one thing that actually does bother me about the game, is that when you get really low on health, it makes this chirping sound. And that chirping sound, I don't know if you can hear it, but it doesn't really go away. And I've only taken about half this guy's health, and he's taken, well, all but 625ths of it. I think I was at 60 when I entered this fight. And that's the end of me. So yeah, I do hope to do better next time. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you'll join me in the future. I would love to hear any comments that you might have. So, thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day.